You still don't want to overprice it and do something silly, because if you do that, research shows that you reduce it, and you get less than if you had listed properly. Okay, so you want to be smart. My marketing, I sell houses all over the world, and for sight and scene closing, my marketing is unparalleled. I do professional floor plans, eye guides, where you like touch your phone and you walk through and you can zoom and you can get measurements. It's really impressive.
I was literally riding down the road one day and saw a sign that said, "Want to make your own hours, have a great career, get your real estate license." So I called and signed up and took the course. When I started the course, I was a graduate from the University of South Carolina, so I thought, this is going to be a piece of cake. I'm really smart. And I had met some real estate agents, honestly, that I didn't think were the sharpest tool in the shed. So I thought, if they can do it, this will be a snap for me. So, as I got into the course, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is really not easy. And I pretty much studied 24/7 and passed the exam on my first go around, but it was very difficult. It was so difficult that I even questioned if I passed the exam.
I always tell my kids the best predictor of future behavior is past.
Oh yeah.
And so I work like you, probably 24/7. That's why I don't ever mind if, like, oh my God, I'm caught up, because you're crazy.
Yeah.
But I get up at 5 o'clock in the mornings. I'm in bed at 10 o'clock at night, and you can text me pretty much any time and get me, and it's not a bother. So yeah.
In the training center, one of the suggestions they had was, okay, you have no business, you have no connections, you need to call established agents that have listings and ask them if you can do a open house for them for free and host it, and that way you could get training with the general public as I came through and get experience without having the inventory or the clientele. I learned quickly that at an open house, in order to be successful, what you have to do is you have to really interact with the people. I'd watched other agents at open houses. I would attend just to kind of, see what they were doing that worked. And, I found more so than not, when I would walk into an open house as just a person out of the general public, that agents sat at their little desk or the table and said hello, and I would not be greeted, no interaction, and of course I would never call that agent again. So I knew that I did not want to take that approach, and then I think I went to one or two open houses where the agents were more engaging, and I thought, I think if you interact with the clients, then you can actually pick up buyers and even potential sellers, which I did. My first open house was at close to $1 million house, and I was excited to do it and did not realize, I was dressed for success. I had on the business suit, looked the part, but when you're at a $1 million property, the clients that come in usually are represented by their own real estate agent. So it was really a waste of time. And I quickly learned that, okay, if I shift my focus from these very expensive listings to, $1 to $500,000 listings, I can get buyers. And I did. So I started, looking for houses in that price point. When buyers would come in, I would, get to know about them, their kids, their family, their dog, what they were looking for, why they were moving, and really developed a pretty instant connection with them, which led to instant business.
Just recently, you won't find another agent that sold more in this neighborhood than me. I sold the one in the cul-de-sac to a cash buyer 2 weeks after I listed it. Down here, if you just keep going straight, you know what I'm talking
about? Going straight on River North? Like, instead of making
you stay on the river. It's on the river. It's the last house on the left.
Okay.
Like, if you go around, you have to take a slight left, and then it's that cul-de-sac.
Yeah.
So I listed that one, and I sold it within a week or maybe 2 weeks to a cash buyer. In that big white monster house I have currently listed at $1 million.
The White House, the 1.2 million one?
I just brought them $1 million offer on it that they rejected this week. So, this is a little bit different of a neighborhood. It's a little bit of a different marketing plan out here, because what you want to do is it struggled to take off, so you want to play on the strengths of the neighborhood versus downplaying, this properties, if it were over on the other side where you play golf at, you'd be getting $300,000 more.
Yeah.
So you have to kind of equalize things with your marketing.
Well, I would just drive around the area that I lived in and surrounding areas that I was familiar with the neighborhoods, and I would see for sale by owner signs. So I would literally call the for sale by owner, and I'll never forget, I'm calling them, I'm shaking so bad because I'm so nervous, but I would call them and introduce myself and tell them what a wonderful job I would do for them, and I was very, very convincing, and quickly got my first listing.
All right, I'm gonna show you currently on the market. This one on Snow Hill Drive is listed at $759. This isn't on the river, but it's close. It's in North Augusta. I turned away this listing because this is overpriced for where it's at. So it's been on the market for 62 days. It's got a nice little pool in the backyard.
Well, I think the first thing you need to do to be successful is, in your own mind, decide what your why is. Because if you don't know why you're in the business and why you want to be successful, you really don't have a reason to try to achieve the level of success that I was managed to do. You know, my husband went to prison and left me with 6 children shortly after getting my real estate license. I get a phone call the middle of the night. My husband was out of town on a business trip. Venus, you don't know me, but my name is Jamie, and I am a prostitute, calling to tell me that she had been blackmailing my husband. She had taken everything that we had, and that he had been cheating on me for years with multiple women. We've taken everything out of every account you have. All of your credit cards are charged to the max. So I'll never forget flying down to Mississippi and sitting in a room with him as he confessed to everything he had done. And he told me that he had been cheating with prostitutes for 7 years. He had pretty much blown every dime. We had outstanding tax liens, and he was sentenced to 45 years. We had nothing. We had nothing.
So I sat all of my children down, and I said, okay, so the first thing we're going to do as a family, we are never going to talk bad about your dad. We are going to pick ourselves up, and I am going to take care of you.
I got up every morning and I ran 3 to 5 miles every single day. I took the children, all 6 of them, to Mass before school. I made a commitment to having family dinner with my children every day. And we would sit around the table. We would go through our good thing and our not so good thing. We're going to show everybody in this community that with God, determination, and hard work, that you can overcome anything. I had no idea how I was going to even meet their basic needs. And I knew that everything was on the line for me, and that if I did not give it 110%, and if I did not succeed, that my children would not succeed. So I had a pretty big why, and as a result, my work ethic was reflective of that.
If you like this interview you're watching and you want to see more like this one, make sure you hit the subscribe button for the Prospecting Today YouTube channel.
The first thing that you need to do, in my opinion, to be successful is you need to take care of yourself. You know, it's like the airplane. They tell you to put the oxygen mask on yourself before you put it on your children, because if you're not taking care of yourself, then you can't help others, especially your client. But I made sure, no matter how busy I was working, 60, 70 hours a week, I would prioritize my children and have family dinner. We would sit down, if it was at 6 or 7 o'clock every night, with all 6 kids, and go around the table, say a good thing, not so good thing. And then often I would get back up and go to work. But I prioritized myself in the mornings to exercise, get my mind clear so I could serve others, my family, my faith, and then again my clients. Then I'd come back to my family, clients, bed. So, you do all the right things. I always say the luckier you get, the more you prepare, the luckier you get.
So it's to go in like a big walk-in storage.
Yeah, that's like attic access, like kind of.
Very nice. I think I'm a minimalist too. I think that's the only way to be.
Yeah.
I would meet these clients at open houses. I did 3 open houses every single Sunday. Probably the first 9 or 10 years I was in the business. Every single Sunday. My first year in the business, partial year, I think I made $20,000. My second year, I was making six figures. I think I made $100,000 my second year. Third year, I doubled it. Fourth year, doubled it. By year 7, I was grossing over $1 million in gross commissions, and have continued to, make 7 figures since then. And I think what happens is when you meet clients and you present yourself to them and you tell them what you're going to do, you actually do it. You over deliver. And that in turn brings you more business, because they tell their friends and family, they call you, which results into more business, which results in more commission. So it's like a snowball effect. You do the right things, you work hard, you're going to be more successful. And the same goes if you don't do the right thing, you don't do what you tell them you're going to do, you don't follow up with clients, you're not going to be successful. But I tell people all the time, you can make $100,000 in your sleep just by doing open houses. If you work them properly and you follow up and do what you're supposed to.
So what we'll do is, if you list with me, then when I do an iGuide, I'll get all the square footage redone for you, because that would increase the price.
I would have a little sign-in sheet originally when they would come in with their name, and I would have little prizes I would give away. So, they would register and what they were looking for, and then I would, they'd win a gift certificate, which they were excited about. But the follow-up is huge in real estate. And I had a girlfriend who went in with me as well, and I'll never forget saying, "Hey, how was your open house?" "Oh, it was great." "Did you get any business?" "Oh gosh, I've got to call them. I need to call them." I'm like, "It was a week ago. You haven't called them?" And so she never made it in the business because she didn't do the basic principles, which is to follow up. We have an email list that we reach out to clients with. I do call clients if on the event that I'm slow, I'll call clients and chat with them. I'm not a cold caller. I know some people teach on that model, but I don't just cold call people. I develop a relationship with them, and as a result of the relationships that I have, it's actually really easy because they refer me quite a bit.
Okay, so these are houses that are currently on the market.
I think that confidence, when you meet clients, when you're confident in yourself, they will immediately feel confident as using you as their agent. I think, again, the follow-up and, over-delivering what you say versus under-delivering, and, marketing. I was very, very good. I'm still very good at marketing myself, branding myself. So people have the name recognition for me throughout Augusta, Georgia. And then when I present a listing packet to clients, it is this thick and it's very impressive. They can see that I've spent my time, done my homework, and so I'm not just flying by the seat of my pants. And as a result, they see my confidence, and then they visually have something to keep to remind them of how good I am at my job, which as a result gets me their trust in business.
Whoever buys this will gut those bathrooms and the kitchen.
But if that's the case, then this price goes up.
Okay, your call.
I always tell other agents, I can almost guarantee you, if I interview against another agent and they don't show up in a three-piece suit, 99% of the time, people are going to go with me, because you only get one chance to make a first impression, and you want to make it that I am serious about buying and selling a house for you. And so if you show up in flip-flops and jeans, well, it's just not as effective. If you show up in a suit and professional business attire, then right off the bat they're forming an unspoken opinion of you, and you have an edge. So how you present yourself matters. I answer my phone. People still say to me, although I sell 60 million plus a year, they when they call me, they're like, "Oh my gosh, I expected to get one of your assistants." And I'm like, "No, I actually really love what I do, and I answer my phone." And I can't express the importance of that enough. To be successful in this business, if you don't answer your phone, within a few minutes, they're going to call somebody else who will. And, you know, I've had that lesson a few times where I could not answer my phone. I was with clients in a car and returning a call 2 hours later versus 10 or 30 minutes later. Well, they've already called another agent. And it just takes a couple of times for you to lose business like that till you realize, okay, that's going to happen, but that needs to be the rare exception versus the rule. You need to answer your phone, have it on you if you want to be successful.
I bought this house in 2001.
You bought this in 2001?
Yeah, and I was living in Miami at the time.
Okay.
And so I was never here.
Okay.
And I didn't move in until my grandmother passed away. My brother moved in.
I think the key is to always reassure them that although they're hysterical at times, that their reaction is normal and that you're here to guide them and have the confidence and reassurance to calm them. And I think as far as a specific example of that, I've had a client walk out at a closing because of a flood zone that wasn't disclosed and was missed by the listing agent when I represented the buyer, and it goes south. You just calm them down and assure them that, okay, this has gone south, but we're going to find something. This wasn't meant to be. Something better is going to happen, and it always does. It's hard, but you can work through the stickiest of situations if you're calm. The market's crazy right now, which is a good thing if you're selling. It's a great thing if you're downsizing. It's not so good if you're upsizing. I have clients that you can bid $50,000 above and not get the property, but I've learned that setting the client's expectation of, okay, this market is crazy, it's stressful, but you've got the best agent in town, and I win, most of the houses that I bid on, but you've got to trust me to lead you through this process. And just when you set that expectation up, the stress level comes down. And when it gets hairy, and if they lose a house, I've had clients lose 2 and 3 houses just in the nature of the beast, that they couldn't go up any higher, although they were $50,000 above the list price, but they weren't approved to go more than that. So we knew that they were going to lose the property. But if you set the expectation that, okay, if that happens, when that happens, we're going to keep at it. We're going to find the perfect house. You've got to trust me. And I've never not delivered on that. I think I worked hard because I came from a very abusive childhood and a very rough childhood.
I knew from a young age that I was different. So my mother developed a prescription issue with medications. I remember laying on the couch watching her and my stepfather telling me to look at her fingernails to make sure if they started turning blue to call 911. My very best friend from high school, I just remember going to her house not knowing where I was going to live. That fear of not knowing where you're going to be, being on the verge of homelessness, it was pretty traumatic for me.
When that happens, you have to decide if you're going to be a victim or if you're going to say, you know what, this really stinks, but I'm not going to let it define me, and I'm going to be better, and I'm going to be stronger, and I'm going to prove to the community and the world that this is not going to take me down. The best piece of advice I would give to a real estate agent is present yourself well, show up on time, over-deliver on your promises, and follow up.